come on, really?
You set yourself up for that, bud.
Uh-huh.
You said you were going to be doing something else.
Of the time I know I do it.
Oh, I'm so glad you were doing that. Oh, I put us all back in, and I was like, no, we're going solo on Tracy for this one. Oh no! Oh my gosh, I'm crying. That was so funny. Oh my word! All right, let me get the right tab open up here. Oh my goodness gracious! Oh, welcome in everyone to another episode of Book Club. Ian Fleming. Let's try that again. Ian Fleming's James Bond on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Today we're going to be discussing chapters 21, 22, and 23.
Yeah.
Gracious. That was my favorite opening, I'm going to say. Okay.
Why? Because I make a fool of myself?
Yes.
You should clip that out and use it every week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what?
Whoa.
Chris. Oh man. Oh.
It's already been seen. It can't be unseen. I'll tell you that.
That's true. That is quite true. Oh man.
What? That's the same thing my wife says to me all the time.
Is that right?
She wakes up in the morning. She says, "Well, you can't unsee that shit."
Oh my gosh, Tracy. We're live.
I'm sorry.
I need a bleep button every time. Tracy
Need a zip slip jar there.
I will be on my best behavior from now on.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, let's welcome in the chat. Oh my word. Tim Pruitt, welcome in on the stream and in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. What in the World with Russ. Warning, today we'll be talking about turkeys, hypnotism, Tracy getting married. Oh, okay, that's why you said
that. Tracy. Okay.
And biological warfare. All those fit together for an interesting story. Yes, they do. Annie Coog, welcome in. Oh, my voice is cracking out. Katrina Scolpini, welcome in. Oh, man. Carlos Disney World Freak, still sitting at the doctor's. May have time to read the whole book. Oh my gosh, Carlos, I can't believe you're still sitting there. Oh goodness gracious. All right, I think I'm all caught up in chat. All right, welcome in, you guys. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking chapters 21, 22, and 23. My kids are off the wall. My husband is not home yet, so just be mindful.
Did you change your locks yet?
No, I have to add a lock. I don't have any locks on my bedroom door. But yeah, anyways. Katrina says, geez, Tina, you can't say my first name, and Tracy puts my last name. Oh, sorry, Katrina. I'm so sorry.
Katrina Scolpini.
Here you go. Good job. Nailed it.
What's the fun in that?
Getting all caught up in my hair. All right, so chapters 19 and 20 were a little confusing for me. So
why were they confusing? Because they were talking science?
Yes.
Science!
They're a little dull.
Weird science.
And so are 21 and 22. So.
Well, kind of, but you get to figure out some. I mean, that's the only ones since I didn't get through 23, 21, and 22 is the ones I can talk about better. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
23 is the best one of the three.
I know. I was running behind.
It is. I agree. So, all right. Who wants to talk about chapter 21? Who wants to get into it? I'm going to let someone else take the helm on this one.
Well, if I need to, I'll go. I mean, I can I can help out, or I can start it anyway.
Go for it, Tim.
Go for it.
And well, since I've not been here for a couple of weeks, I was kind of behind anyway, and I was trying to remember things. But basically, they're trying to figure out why anybody from Ag and Fish, which is our natural resources or Department of the Interior in this country, is over agriculture. So, and that's a different division than they have. It's split up differently. But anyway. It'd be like the agricultural guy showing up in your office saying, "What is this you've got here?" Or they call them in. Russ might tell me, I'm confused on that part. Did they send them the report, or did they just show up?
No, they set up the meeting. They called them in.
Okay, so they called them in.
Yeah, that's the kind of the whole reason they were at M's house was because they wanted to meet with the expert.
Okay,
and
yeah,
but at the same time, they're from different ministries of the government,
right?
And it's just like the the CIA working with the FBI here. They don't like to share information if they don't have to.
Well, especially in this case, because you're talking about chickens and cows guys versus spy guys. So,
right.
And I guess in my way of reading it was the spy guys didn't really see they suspected something was going on, but they couldn't really put it together. At the same time, some of the ag people didn't really see anything either. They thought, well, this Blofeld guy's doing great stuff up here. He's, he said he's going to help us out down here in England. I mean, until this. Well, I don't want to get to this. I guess that's more in the next chapter. Till that one guy got a hold of everything and started putting two and two together. Well, I guess after Bond gave him the map that kind of showed him the overlay of all these different agricultural centers of Britain.
Yeah.
Which they made some comment about Britain being, I thought they said the greatest agricultural nation in the world or something. But I guess what they meant was they were more agricultural than they used to be.
Well, you got to remember, this is also written in the 60s.
Well, I know, right after the war.
So it's after the war. Yes, America came out a very huge industrial and agricultural monster after World War II, because you figure everything else was pretty much destroyed. Except England had the U-2 bombings, but they didn't have all of the rest of it. So a lot of their countryside, they had to switch it over to produce that, because for a while they were on their own. They weren't getting that stuff from America. Yeah. So you have to put that in a position of when this book was written and what time it is. In the 1960s, farm and ag, that was actually still pretty prevalent in some of these areas. It wasn't built up industrialized. They moved into because they had to feed their world.
Very
Sorry.
Very
Sorry,
true.
didn't mean to cut in like that.
Oh, no, you go right ahead. That's
I'm a bit of a history buff along with a nerd obsession. So
I have that problem too. So in fact, I've been reading a lot of stuff about this time period lately. I mean, that in some ways, I guess, but they're looking at one guy's they're kind of arguing about the fact that this guy's helping these girls, or they're getting the. I'm trying to get it in the right perspective here. I don't want to jump. It's easy for me to jump ahead, and I don't want to do that yet.
Agent 501, which I kind of look at as kind of the Q character.
Yeah,
is one of the guys. He's from the agency. He's from Secret Service, and then you have Franklin, who is the guy from Ag and Fish.
Right.
And 501 kind of explains how the hypnosis has worked in order to bring the girls around and what they're doing. And then they try and figure out, well, who's the one that's paying for all of this, and what's the motive behind it?
Yeah. Real quick, I want to welcome in Travel Adventures with Eric B. and Daniel Disinfinity. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here.
Hi, guys.
All right, go ahead. So where were we?
Jim.
Let me think here where I was at.
I never think.
Well, and there's a little bit of back and forth between them, I think, because I guess it's Franklin, not Alexander Franklin. He's kind of looking at these guys like, well, you're always so hush hush and you don't share things with us. I mean, he's kind of what Russ just said, and so I feel like there's a little bit of I don't know if animosity or not, but it's maybe rivalry going on there about you don't tell us, we're not going to tell you.
Well, I came off with a different kind of perspective on this. I came off as Franklin's looking at, I'm fishing ag. Why am I in the middle of this?
True.
Why am all of a sudden I thrown in the middle of, the Security Acts and the Secret Service and all this other stuff? Here, this guy probably just deals with, the blight of the farmers and fish and ag and what's going on throughout the country in farm and ag. He's never expected ever to be thrown into something like this. And I think as you get farther in, and even before you get to the end of this chapter, he kind of takes the pieces that we got from M, which is bringing them together. It takes Bond's report, 501's idea, and say, aha, I got this. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would have gotten that if they didn't have a farm and egg guy there. Or
Right.
what do they call it? Fish and ag report?
Ag and fish, I think.
Yeah, ag and fish. Yeah, but yeah, it's
Which is,
agriculture and fish. Yeah, fish and wildlife, basically. So.
Yeah. Yeah, probably over there. It could be. Well, I'm not going to say that. It could be agriculture, fish, aquaculture. They may be over that. That may be why they say that, because they do a lot of that over there. But don't know if they did then. So they may be over wildlife and everything. That's quite.
I mean, I basically think they're in charge of Britain's natural resources. Basically.
Yeah, I'll go with that. It is kind of that way here too. Actually, I said the Department of Interior. Agriculture here is in the Department of Interior, but Fish and Wildlife Service is actually in agriculture. It's actually a part of agriculture, so that is true. I mean, it's kind of that way in the States also. Yeah, but and also Franklin has decided he's not, he ain't going to be pushed around by these guys either. Once they start talking about it, and he whips out his newspaper clippings and starts talking about dead turkeys and the commonalities they have of being at a show somewhere, and which will all come together a little bit later.
I think this is his, like, he feels like, oh, I'm important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, yeah, exactly. I got one on these guys. Watch this.
What do you think, Gina?
I think, it's interesting because I feel like, they don't exactly know what's going on in a way, but yet they all have a role to play, and it just feels like everyone's trying to be careful about each other, but yet they have to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just something that happens when you're in the Secret Service, or where you're always suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, I know not to get ahead, but obviously that changes to some degree, because or else it's not gonna they're not gonna be able to get to the root of everything,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the interesting part, just there's always this a little satire here and a little bit of and yeah, but yet there's something serious going on, and they have to try to get to the bottom of it. So yeah.
Yeah, and by the nature of things, I'm sure they suspect the Secret Service anyway. Well, most people do, so I assume he probably would too. I don't know if it was that way back in 1960s Britain or 50s Britain, whenever he actually wrote the book, but I'm sure there was some play in that going on. Even one government agency to another doesn't talk to you. I worked for a government agency for 20 years. I know how they didn't always talk to us either, so.
All the red tape and things get in the way, and the bureaucraticness.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can be shooting for the same goal, but you don't always get there the same way.
Yeah, budgets don't cross or whatever. Everybody's got their own agendas or whatever. So
exactly,
it's Well, and even because Franklin's boss even tells him, hey, don't divulge anything, and then even M tells him, hey, this is a secret thing. Yeah, I already know. My boss already told me I'm not supposed to talk about anything. And that kind of a thing. So it is kind of a hush hush thing. But then also you find out, and again, this is possibly, slightly going a little ahead, but we find out that, they've already also been thinking about this could happen, with what they're finally figuring out, that it's, some kind of a biological warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they hadn't put that together yet. It's like they hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
At least that's how I took it.
It boggles my mind how we go from this place up on a mountaintop with the beautiful women and whatever, the ski resort, and it all comes down to biological warfare. Like when I'm reading this, my mind was just blown, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense, but yet it's kind of genius.
Mm-hmm.
It is genius, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah.
He had them coming up there again. I guess we're diving in a little bit, but he had them coming up there for what seemed like a very philanthropic I guess that's the right word, thing to help him cure he's going to be a great scientist who's going to cure allergies. And he's going to prove it by curing, sorry guys, by curing all these girls. And which is funny, he did pick all girls. I wondered about that. But nobody, that seems like a good thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're muted, Tracy. You're still muted. Oh. Well, you were talking. I thought you were trying to say something.
I was. I could tell you my opinion on why he picked girls, but
okay.
It wouldn't be.
Would it be better? Would it be better coming from a girl? Because I'm probably thinking the same thing. They're not that bright.
Well, here's the thing: is you also? I have to say it like this: you have
not
to
all girls. These girls.
You have to put it in the time period of the book written.
Yeah,
sure.
And the era.
Yes.
You still got to remember this is still pre now movement. The women's right. Women's suffrage hasn't gone through yet. There wasn't a lot of
suffrage has. Suffrage has, but
this isn't going to be another talk about apples, is it?
No.
About what?
No. We're not going to get into sex cult here.
Why does it? We can't have one episode without something sexual, can we?
Well, it is James Bond.
But okay, so
I put it Sherlock too.
Oh,
sorry.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm losing my voice. So I'm sorry.
But what I'm saying is, at this point in time in this era, men were looked on, and you got to remember Ian Fleming wrote this in this era in his mindset. You put yourself in his mindset. Women were a little bit considered inferior, easier to pass through. Where Blofeld, you knew how to use their talents, let's say, because they would get through customs easier. They would be they wouldn't catch an eye of authorities as much as, say, a man in a dress suit coming through. Yeah. Bond's going to make much more of a target than, say, Ruby. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, Jeff.
So
right, especially the way he devised to, and this is way ahead, I think, but I don't think he's talked.
But
he devised to get through, yeah.
And he also gave tests to these girls to see how susceptible they were to hypnosis. That's why when that one girl said she failed that one aptitude test, why he selected her instead of somebody else. He was looking for somebody who was susceptible and needed some movement. So you gotta. I think that's the way I have to look at the book, and not that it's my opinion.
Probably true.
It's not my opinion. I'm putting it in the era of the book and when it was written.
Well, and two, you got to think also, this is James Bond. He likes the pretty girls.
Well, that's true.
And so, it makes sense that he goes up to the ski resort and he's surrounded by pretty girls. So,
I have to suspect some of these books probably seem kind of scandalous back in the late 50s and early 60s. Well, I don't know when he actually wrote them. I'm guessing he wrote them in the late 50s or started them, but they started coming out in the 60s. But
oh my gosh!
Jeff's here.
I'm not even going to highlight that.
No, don't.
Why not?
Oh, me.
You wouldn't be Jeff if he didn't.
Well, leave it to Jeff.
Yeah. Oh,
mercy. Anyway.
All right. Where were we?
So this guy finally brings in this chapter. Let me finish this chapter real quick, and we'll be done, and we can move to the second one because we're. But anyway, he finally gets around saying basically, if he gets away with what I think this is Franklin talking. He said, "We'll be out on the street begging for bread here, if this happens, because he's going to destroy our agricultural industry basically and starve Britain out, and in which he could move on then to other countries. I mean, it'd be easy to start in a place like Britain, which is an island, so you could kind of." As a test subject, that's perfect. I mean, if you've ever done any that kind of science, island environments are always where scientists like to look at things and see what's different about them in other places because they're usually concentrated. But, and them has to think about that for a minute and said, geez, well, I never thought about that. Well, no, they don't think that. They weren't thinking that way. But
So is the next chapter where they explain biological warfare?
Basically, yeah.
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 Well,
Mhm.
so I think, and I think where Tim was coming is that really comes down to that next chapter that we're going to get to, where
Yeah.
it pretty much describes how they will take out the how Blofeld's going to use this to work against the British
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and then he uses a U.S. document to kind of prove his point, doesn't he? I
Right.
think.
So do you want to
Yeah.
lead right into the next chapter, Tina?
Well, we kind of skipped over to the conversation about who's paying for it, and they talk about the
Oh,
Russians.
well, yeah.
The Russians are basically supplying all the funding for this.
Yeah.
And so,
right.
and again, this is the beginning of the Cold War. So,
Yeah.
and so that's something else that kind of plays into this is that, if they're getting backing, if he's getting backing from another country, even,
Mm-hmm.
then this takes on even more of a global scale.
Right.
Well-
Because we're about what, 10 years into the Cold War?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when was the end of World War II? Was what, 45?
45. Yeah. This is
Right.
61 or 2, isn't it? Or 3. I
This
can't
is around
remember.
1960. So you're figuring we're 10 to 15 years into the Cold War. So, but then again, they also not for sure who's backing Blofeld. It might not
No.
be the Russians. He just says
Well-
there was a Russian captain there.
Yeah, there's Captain Boris, and they think that he might be the paymaster. Yeah.
Question. I mean, this is Spectre, right? I mean, he is Spectre, right? I'm not confused.
Right.
I mean, I've slept since yesterday, so I could be wrong. But and Spectre, as I recall, basically took their money from everybody if they could get it by
Yeah,
hook
oh,
or
yeah.
crook.
They're
And so they
worldwide.
were sort of self-supporting, but they used people to get money. So while the Russians may have backed them, Spectre usually had their own game plan. They were probably playing the Russians too in this case. Maybe. I mean, that's how at least that's how it evolved.
So in my age group, if you're watching from my age group, Spectre is Cobra to
G.I. Joe.
the Secret Service G.I. Joe. It's
Oh.
a ruthless terrorist
How old are
organization bent on ruling the world. So
How much younger than me are you?
Huh?
How much younger than me are you?
Well, I'm 39 and 6.
Oh.
No, I'm 39 with 7 years experience.
Oh, okay. Well, you're
So
still 20 years behind me, so I guess that's the difference. GI Joes were this big when I grew up, and they were this big when.
G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip was on the money, man.
Jeff, where'd it go? Jeff wants to know if this book is with Mini Me.
No.
No, no.
Katrina says, Tracy, I'm 33 and I'm in your age group. Katrina.
No, he's 39 with 7 years experience, so that makes him what,
yeah. You're more in
46?
my
Yeah.
Well, he does mention that most of the henchmen that are up there look like ex-Smash members, which are Russian.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
yeah,
so-
Hungarian. He talked about some of them being Hungarian or Czechoslovakian. I mean, they were all basically all Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
And the funny
Men,
thing,
soldiers.
I always thought that. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Like it cuts in and out. I don't know if it's my computer, but it's like the sound is cutting in and out a little bit. So I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
Oh.
No, if it was me, I might have been moving around too much, so I'll try to be still. I started to use my whole body to talk instead of just my hands.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, you just blipped there a minute ago, Tim. So it might have been your signal cutting out.
Maybe. It could be. I've had a little bit of trouble with my internet the last few days, so it could be.
Hey, Will.
If I fall off, I'll come back.
Welcome in.
I don't know. I guess I just felt a little bit like when they were talking about all of this stuff, all these different viruses, it almost seemed like that it was like to us when we see all these things, we're like, oh yeah, it's sort of common, just because I don't know, I'm not sure if this time, we're just more like aware of a lot more things, but like I almost felt like it was something that like either no one really wanted to say that this is what it might be, and also when all of this stuff was being mentioned, it was like something almost like obscure, maybe I don't know. I just got the feeling like it's maybe because it was the 60s. I'm not sure.
Well, I think go ahead. Go ahead, Russ.
Well, I was just going to say that they even mentioned the fact that they're so used to the physical attacks from the war that they're used to bombs and men with guns. They're not used to thinking on this other level. They're basically thinking outside the box here. Blofeld is not. Originally his plan was to steal nuclear materials, which is what Thunderball was about, and
true.
Now he's shifted and he's going biological. So it's totally different from what they're thinking that Blofeld is capable of.
And probably even more sinister in some ways.
Exactly.
About it.
And I mean, and even in the next chapter, which I think we can probably start phasing into that now, to where they're talking about.
I bet they were a blur, Jeff. If you were alive in the 60s.
Yeah, he was born in the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
The fact that this could start in the UK and then expand globally.
Mm-hmm.
And it could happen very, very easily. So
I'll give you a real life example of that happening. And I'm not meaning to derail things, but a few years ago, you may remember that Great Britain had a hoof and mouth disease problem.
Oh yeah.
And there's an island between Ireland and UK called the Isle of Man, which you may have heard of. And they have road races over there twice a year, and it's been going on for over 100 years. And they canceled all that, even though that wasn't because they were afraid. Because some of these diseases, and that he could have used that disease and for their cattle. If you walk through the fields, you can get it on your boots, track it home, take it to America. I mean, you can spread it everywhere. So they closed the countries down, so people literally wouldn't be over there walking around, maybe taking the disease home. So these diseases could spread pretty fast if they got going, if they had the shelf life to do so. And when I don't know if these are synthetic or not, but probably not. He's probably taking the real thing and just figuring out a way to spread it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, because of the nature of what's going on in the world right now, this really hits home as well.
Yeah.
Because we're talking viruses and things that are spreading everywhere and basically kill all of the crops and all of the livestock. We're dealing with similar at the moment with we're killing people. So I mean, it's it hits home right now. So
yeah, and this is again just go back to the World War II thing. They're still. It was in the 50s before a lot of these countries started really recovering from World War II, and they've seen all the horrors of World War II, but biological warfare hadn't really hit yet. It may have come to that, but it didn't. So this is kind of a new concept too. It's like Russ was saying. It's not soldiers with guns and flamethrowers. It's the sheep out back.
But it's not new because if you remember in this chapter, they mentioned that Roosevelt, the Americans came up with the idea of using biological warfare on the rice paddies in Japan.
Yes,
true.
But everybody didn't know that though.
But you have Roosevelt saying that's one step I'm not going to do. And then Truman says, "Okay, I'm just going to drop a bomb."
True.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it does. I mean because we get into the next chapter, and I mean whoever wants to take that one, that's go for it.
Well, I'll kind of take the.
Go ahead.
So, like the next chapter, they're pretty much going through, and what Franklin does is he gets the names. He actually says he doesn't know where they live. Mm-hmm. So Bond gives him the piece of paper or the list of where they are. He circles in their area. One girl's from a high pork producing area. One's from potatoes. One's from chickens. One's from beef. So, and he kind of says, what he pretty much says that a couple months ago, and he tells him that if you ate a turkey today on Christmas Day, it's a good chance that it came from the America, because their turkey population was killed off because they had a virus. They had to actually slaughter their turkeys to stop the spread of this virus. And what was it called? I can't remember what it was called because even though I was reading it today.
Fowl pest.
Foul Pat.
Yeah, Pat. Yeah, right.
So he theorized that this girl came back early, right before, which I don't know. To me, if I was an evil mastermind, I wouldn't have sent one back before everybody else. But still, that makes no sense. She said he sent this girl back. She is from this one town where they do a big meetup, like almost like a food auction or a cattle auction. It's like a turkey auction, and she infects the turkeys, and they go home, and then it takes off there. Mm-hmm. So again, really just looking at where we're living in today's day and age, this is exactly what's going on with the human population. We're just spreading it and super spreading it. So that's what they're planning to do with the turkeys. So then he pretty much points out that this girl's going here, she can do this, she could do this. And it could be either nonchalantly, she's actually thinking, or because of the hypnosis, they're thinking that Blofield's helping them and saying, we're going to help produce a better potato. We're going to help produce better pigs. We're going to help produce better chickens and whatever. Put this additive in your food, or spray the turkeys or the chickens with this. It'll help them grow better. And then from there, what it would do is he made a circle on the map and put the X's in, pretty much crossed it out. And you can really boil this whole chapter down, because, I mean, we've got another chapter, which is much more entertaining, I guess. You take out the agriculture in England, and now they have to buy a lot more from foreign nations and foreign countries. Think about the fact that Jeff, I am multitasking. Blofield doesn't actually need to have the backing. He probably needed the backing to start this program up. But if you invest your money right in foreign goods that they're going to have to invest in, and that's where he says he could bear on the market, he would make a lot more money in the long run by the investments of taking down their agriculture, because now England would have to buy this food from other areas. Let me see if I pretty much boiled that one chapter down to those couple sentences. He could have pretty much said it in that quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One question before we move on. Am I cutting out still, or can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
I thought I was hearing myself. I'm echoing from somebody. Unless it's me. The one girl that did go back and caused the turkey thing, did they think, I was trying to remember, did they say they think he sent her back as a test to prove his point, or did she just leave for something? I can't remember how that happened.
I think she left. I mean, she was sent out. I mean, I almost think that it was because of the timing of it. I mean, it was Christmas. So, I mean, they wanted her to get back. But I'm kind of with Tracy as to why wouldn't you just send everybody back?
Well, I agree. I agree with that. But I mean, if he was trying to prove it to backer, so to speak, to get money to continue or something, he might have done that.
He could have done it that way. But then again, I mean, maybe the people that did front the money said, is this going to work? We're putting all this money into you. Is it going to work? Did he have to show a test subject, or did he have to say, hey, listen, this is a capable thing. We could take out me, but if I'm a criminal mastermind, I'm going all in. You're sending all 11 back at the same time. And then you don't know until it's actually happened. With Blofield sending this girl back early to take care of the turkeys, it tipped his hand.
Well, it did after Bond and the Secret Service got involved, and they figured out he was up to something. I mean, if they hadn't have been for this meeting they had at M's house, maybe they wouldn't have figured that out for a while yet. He might have still got away with it, because once it's there, you can't really get rid of it till it's run its course.
And of course, too, Blofeld, could have. I mean, he still may not think that he's been caught. He does. They don't know. I mean, who knows?
You don't want to hear me singing anything.
Well, they do think Bond is dead,
right?
Unless they tapped a call to Station Z before he flew back to England, because you remember their car. They assumed that he went off the cliff along with the other car, so they assume he's dead, or the guy that they know of, Sir Henry Fauntleroy or whatever his name is.
Yeah, that he was posing as.
Yeah. Fauntleroy.
Who was that? Was that the name of the guy? No.
No.
What do I know? Sir
And now I
going
can't
back.
remember.
I'm going back.
Fauntleroy.
Okay.
No.
Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Now, what's that from, Tim?
That's a whole nother story. It's I think it was well, I'm not going to say it's a kid's book, but there was a book about that, and then there's a painting about it, or there was a painting.
Sir Hilary Bray.
Okay.
Yeah, Bray. Hillary
No, it's not
Bray.
Fauntleroy.
Not even close.
Not even close. What? Where did I come up with that?
Wow.
Okay, Russ,
That's all I'm
you got the next chapter. There you go. How's he sound, Jeff? There's you some singing for the stadium mode.
Sounds good.
Fauntleroy Peacock, Jeff asked. Was his name Fauntleroy Peacock? Oh, geez.
There it is.
Well, Tracy, were you gonna finish the chapter?
That's true. That's true, Amy. It is Donald Duck's middle name.
So, what was it? I just read this morning. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm missing something. Tell me if I'm missing something, Russ, because.
Well, the last thing that happens is M calls Scotland Yard basically, and tasks them to find the girls. That this is a real situation. That, and the guy's like, the guy on the other end, I forget his name. I didn't write it down.
Fauntleroy.
Yeah, fine. Whoever the guy was in charge of Scotland Yard. So this is basically like the CIA calling the FBI saying, "Okay, here's your job." And the guy didn't want to do it because it's Christmas, and and because this sounds ridiculous. Why are we tracking down these girls? Coming from a ski town, on Christmas. And so he can't, and M can't tell him why, other than the fact that it's national security. And so they basically they're coming up with the plan as to what is going to happen and what they need to do in order to stop Blofeld. And that Bond will be in charge.
Yeah.
So, and then he asked for 2 weeks off.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm getting married.
Yeah.
Are you really? I thought you were already married. That's a whole. You're living in the wrong state, hon. You got to go to. They got to go to Utah
or northern Arizona at least.
Salt Lake City area.
Yes, Fauntleroy is Donald Duck's middle name.
All right.
Maybe
So what?
Maybe I just like saying Fauntleroy.
Could be.
Is it fun to say like Francisco?
Fauntleroy.
Francisco.
That's fun to say. Fauntleroy.
Oh man. All right. Are we at chapter 23?
Yes.
We are.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Any other thoughts before we this chapter?
I honestly, like, after talking about it here, it's become more interesting.
Yes, I agree.
What's that?
These last two chapters has become more interesting after talking about it.
I mean, for James Bond, it's kind of boring, but it is important. I mean, it's
And Tina, any more
pretty
thoughts?
diabolical too.
I'm pretty shallow on the thoughts, man. There's not left in the tank. I only got a couple. I only get a couple good ones a day, and you've already used up like 10 of them.
I hear ya. No worries. All right, chapter 23. So
This chapter was nice though, because like he went to his to her father and their friends, and like her father was ecstatic. So I don't know. I think out of the three, this one, I felt like I was. Well, no, not that I didn't think the other ones were interesting, but I thought this one was like it was a mix between what was going on, and with the father and the whole that they were going to be happy, but also to this plan, this plan, like mafia plan or something,
thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I cannot tell you the thoughts that were going through my head during this chapter because they're spoilers, because I know what happens, obviously. And if you've seen the movies, you know what happens too, but I'm not going to spoil it for those that haven't. But it just, the thoughts that were going through my head, and I'll have to try to write them down and remember them to refer back to this chapter when we get to the last one. So, but yeah, we move on with this chapter, and he's getting ready to board a plane to go over to what's that island?
I don't remember. I know it was somewhere.
Marseilles.
Marseille. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going over to so he's going over to meet his future father-in-law, and I love the conversation at the beginning of this that he has with Tracy on the phone, or excuse me, Teresa, where he's he has what's her name? Mary. Good night.
Yeah.
She's gonna take care of, getting the girls, getting notes back to the real Sir Hilary Grey about their genealogies, right? Is that what he instructed her to do? Am I right?
Well, he basically tells him to go through their genealogies and make them look good, because
He promised them.
he promised them that they would, and so that and it's almost like because they're the ones that are, they're pawns in this scheme.
Right.
They don't have anything to do with it, and so this is somewhat of their reward as to, because you've been through this.
Right. And so then he has a conversation with Tracy, and as he's talking to her, and so she's telling him what she had for dinner the night before, and she's all excited, and he says to her, will you stop blowing into the telephone? And she goes, I was only sighing with love. And I love that made me laugh so hard. She's a woman. She's engaged to a very handsome and secret spy, and now the girly side. This is the part that I thrive on. This is the girly stuff, and I like this. And so,
you also got to think too. This is like one of the best things that's ever happened to her, because her entire life.
She's marrying a spy.
I mean,
she's finally got somebody she's got somebody outside of her dad that loves her. So
yeah,
that's not just there for. Well, go ahead.
So
I was just going to say her dad. I mean, there was probably people around her all the time that didn't really care for her, that were caring for her or watching over her or whatever because of her dad. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Hey Garrett, welcome in Monarch Moments. The song that plays in my head when I if I have a love song between with Teresa, the first song for me would be Walking on Air. And she's like, believe it or not, I'm walking on.
That's a different TV show, hon.
I know that, but it plays in my head.
That's The Greatest American Hero. I know that. I loved that show back in the day.
I like that. I love that song. That is one of my favorite TV things.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Never thought I could be so free.
Yeah. Anyways, so she's literally she's elated, and that's what I love. I love seeing her excitement, and I love her I don't know, her girliness. I don't know, because I don't think guys get like this. Do guys get like this?
Like what?
When they're in love, or they're in a relationship, or they're first getting married. I know
they're Twitter pated.
Twitter paid.
you mean like giddy and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we just feel like it's doom coming.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Oh, thank God she doesn't watch. She's gonna
Tracy will be sleeping in the basement tonight.
Yeah.
Well, he's used to it. He spent a couple of weeks down there a while back.
Yeah.
So he's probably got it ready.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was a sign she always keeps it ready for him. I don't know.
Okay,
go ahead.
So now we're gonna move past all the girly stuff, and he says he's going to meet her father and ask. I love this. Where is it? I gotta find it. You say where you are. I'm going to ask for your hand, both of them, and feet and all the rest in marriage. Oh my gosh, I love that. So, all right, so he's getting ready to board the plane. And
Before we get there, Tina,
Yeah.
I like the description at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
To where they basically talk about, okay, he's got his Walther PPK, he's got his passport, he's got his suit on, he's himself again.
Yeah.
No more Hillary Bray,
Right.
no more, anything else.
In other words, he's packing.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
He feels more comfortable packing. Now, what we had also noticed in this chapter is he felt more natural. He felt more of his self, even though he's engaged to be married. He felt elated to be involved in what's going on. Like
he didn't have to pretend anymore.
He was, in the beginning of this book, he was ready to resign.
Yeah.
Well, and they even talk about it at the end of the last chapter that basically he's on a secret mission, even from his own government, because the methods that he's getting ready to use are not sanctioned. So he's basically on his own, which is the way he likes it.
Yeah.
So
I like the way they describe. Go back to what Russ was saying about the beginning. I love how they put the PPK was in his leather holster, which was warm against his stomach. So I thought that was kind of interesting way to put that. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, so we're on the plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
We land. What's the deal with the taxi driver? Was that one of his guys?
So Marius is Marius is a guy that he knows. It's an agent that he knows who's planted there as a taxi driver, who has a persona that he's the flamboyant taxi driver that always comes and meets the celebrities and takes care of them, and so that's what he has to play that character up in the hotel, or in the airport, and Bond thinks he's funny. So
that's right.
Now, I thought this guy was actually not one of he's not one of the Secret Service. He's one of Draco's guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? I'm not sure.
Because when he was on the phone with Draco, he says, "Are you going to have me met?"
Mm-hmm.
True.
So I took it as this is Draco's guy who works the system with who
that makes sense actually.
That makes better sense.
His game is he's pretty much the eyes and ears for the airport of Draco's.
Yeah.
So he had to act like he did, not Draco Malfoy, and it's Draco Fauntleroy.
That's where Fauntleroy come into this. That's Francisco.
Hello, Francisco. That's fun to say, Francisco. And Fauntleroy. Fauntleroy's fun to say also.
I was just thinking, where's Francisco? And you said Fauntleroy was fun to say. Yeah, we hit Harry Potter, Katrina.
So when you're, I think this guy is Draco's guy. I took it as Draco's guy because he took him right to Draco's place.
Right, it makes more sense. Yeah,
Yeah. And he knew how to work all the. Now that you said that, it makes sense because all the people at the airport, like customs, he whisked him right on through there. And they all knew him, so he's probably been paying those guys off for years to get through the airport. So they probably all knew him for that reason. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how he apologized, like when they got. He said, "Well, I'm supposed to take attention from you or something," and he was supposed to, again, more. Undercover, but not in a way just make as little attention as possible. So.
It's like if I draw the attention, nobody else is paying attention.
Nobody's paying attention to you. Well, he even described him as a dim-witted English tourist or something. Yeah, dim-witted English tourist
in French, and he didn't know that Bond knew how to speak French.
Yeah, because Bond even says, your character was so good, you almost made me laugh. So, which would have blown their cover. So,
yeah. All right, so he takes him to the facility, the layer of.
It takes him to the store.
Take him to the store.
There's a front.
Oh, I missed that part. Okay, carry on. Continue.
Hey, Tina, do you want to wrap this up around 4 o'clock, and then we can come back to this chapter? Because if we go to the end of this chapter, we're going to be past 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we are. All right. Is it okay if we leave a cliffhanger?
I think it
is fine.
Okay.
That way I could catch up.
So we'll finish this chapter next week then, because I just looked at the clock. You're right. It's 4:53. And we don't want.
And I'm not trying to be a pest. I have things to get done today before I go to. I got class tonight, so.
Tracy, just admit it. You didn't read chapter 23, and you want to get caught up.
I actually got right to this point where we're stopping. So yeah,
Works out pretty good.
Wait, I mean, this is a good ending.
caught me.
This is a good ending spot anyway, because basically they go to the store.
Yeah.
It's a front. It's one of Draco's stores, and it's a front, but it's actually like fancy. It's a house, basically.
Yeah.
You totally busted me, Tina. I didn't expect you to catch on to that.
I wouldn't take that.
Yeah, that's a good stopping point, because then we can get into the fun of the rest of the chapter. So.
All right. So let's go around the horn. We'll promote your channels, what you got coming up. Gina, we'll start with you. I know you didn't have anything last time. I don't know if you've changed it. I'm going to ask you every week, just in case.
No, it's been a little bit, just a little bit busy with different things that have come up. So I haven't, like, I got some stuff ready, but then what came up and I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. But the weather's getting a little nicer here, so hopefully this week I'll be able to focus a little bit more.
So for those that don't know, Gina is in the chats. She's Classy Disney Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've seen her, that's who she is. And we've been trying to encourage her to start a channel. So every week I'm going to ask them, you know, if it happens, it happens. And
No pressure, Gina.
Oh, yeah, no pressure at all.
I didn't realize that. Because I know I don't ever want to make her feel like that.
Not at all. I mean, it's like my daughter's 18, and so it's like I'm not a little kid's mom anymore. So, and it's just like, okay, yeah. So, but yeah, and I
You
definitely
start a channel to embarrass your children.
That's what Tracy does.
That's what Tracy's been doing for a couple of years now.
My husband does that a lot. Like, I don't do it as much, but he loves doing that to her. He's like, loves it, like relishes in it. So yeah.
Exactly. All right, Russ, what do you have coming up?
I've got a couple of videos that I'm working on. And then Thursday, I'm thinking about going back over to Universal. I'm not sure if I will stream or not, but just keep an eye out if, I might have to pop up or something, but we'll see. But then on Saturday, we're going to be playing a new game, a new board game for the channel anyway. It's an old game, but it's one of my favorite games. It's called Carcassonne, which is a German game. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So, whoever wants to come play can come play. Yeah, that's as of right now, that's basically it, I think. And then we got Nerd Talk on This Is Our Dreams channel on Sunday. So
Nice. All right, Tim, how about you?
Hopefully
Hillbilly
I'll be
Bond.
do what?
Hillbilly Bond.
Oh, Hillbilly Bond. I should be here Saturday morning. I'm getting my COVID shot Friday, so hopefully I'll be fit for that. But I'm sure I will
First
be.
or second one?
Only one.
Oh, you're going to Johnson & Johnson?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, nice. I think that was
It's
also May.
a pain for me to get up and get out since I can't walk or drive myself. So I figured if I can get it one shot, I'd be better off. So
Yeah.
Brenda has to drive me, and she's it's hell to get her to take me anywhere, so much less the doctor. She's about over all this cripple stuff.
Well, she doesn't want everybody to know that she's breaking your legs to keep you in bed.
She won't. She's not going to admit to that. That just keeps me at home. She don't want to care for me. She's over trying to take care of me. She wouldn't break. She'd break my legs, but she says I'm on my own even then. No, I have to do that. I've still got a video I'm trying to get out on my Saturn V rocket if I can ever figure out how to edit it right and get it out there. I started just go ahead and publish it and let the bad spots be there, but I need to really try to figure it out. So if I can get everything cleaned up, I'm going to post that soon. Maybe this week. That's it. That's all I got.
All right, Tracy, how about you?
All right, so I'm assuming tomorrow I may be invited to a friend's stream, so I might be there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But on Thursday, if you haven't seen Chris's dad builds video of the man of the world, which I just dropped the link into the chat, which it's basically me about the world and throughout the universe, supposedly, and even a long time ago, because Job is there.
You've been around.
I've been around. So
I watched that this morning.
That's
Impressed.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the backstory on how all those photos were taken on Thursday on Not Wasting Time.
Oh, okay. So you're not gonna tell us now.
So I'm listen, he started it, I'm jumping all in.
Go for it.
And then again, just like Russ, on Sunday we have Nerd Talk on Diz Our Dream. We're going to be talking the overview of WandaVision from episode 1 to episode 9, which is the full series, not just the season.
Plus the making of.
Plus the making of.
Wait a minute. What do you mean not just the season?
Yeah, it's only a 1-season deal. Limited series.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I thought, never mind. I thought you said
we're just going to talk about all of WandaVision, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, the way you put that, I thought maybe there was something else that they didn't do or something. Never mind. You said series and then season.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. But yeah, I get it. So if I came in and watched that, I don't have to watch the show. Then I could just listen to you guys tell about it.
Oh, you still need to
we're
watch
going to act out all the parts.
I haven't watched it.
I'm going to act out all the parts. I'm going to be fake troll.
That'd be worse. That will be worse then. I'll have to try to make that.
We're going to read lines.
Yeah, I guess I meant to watch it, but I got behind, and my wife turned out to watch it. She loved it, and I didn't expect her to want to watch it at all. So,
from what I understand, Angela's going to read the lines of Wanda, and Jeff's going to be Sparky.
Oh my gosh. God have mercy. Okay. And on that note,
what about you, Tina? What are you up to?
Carlos from Disney World Freak is up at 4. He might be running a little bit late, guys, so hang tight. Go hang out in the chat for a little bit. Oh my goodness. And tonight I will be on. Oh, and I'll be on with Carlos. And then tonight at 9 o'clock on the Adventures of Gonzo's channel, it's me, Gonzo, Chris from Addie Family Adventures. We are the 3 Musketeers. We're going to be talking our top 10 favorite Disney songs. Tomorrow, Wednesday, whateverness. Yes, Tracy, you are invited. I will send you guys all the information. We're doing top 10 movie soundtracks.
Top 10 what?
Movie soundtracks.
Movie soundtrack.
I already got my number 1.
What? No, save it. Don't tell us. Unless you want to.
I'm going to act it out.
Please
Just
don't
act it out.
be sexual. That's it, guys. And I'll be on. I'm everywhere, places, and I pop up. So, anyways, if you are new, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Pop that notification bell so you receive all notifications for when we go live or when we have a vlog out. And hit the like button on the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Please know that you are loved, appreciated, and that you are a blessing. Think of a happy thought. Any merry little thought. See you later.